So hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, Healthy Relationship with Moi. Today's video, we are quickly going to talk about a topic called loss of libido, which basically means reduction or reduced sex drive. You know, 1 minute you could be up in there humping like a rabbit, and the next minute you just don't feel like doing anything. You just don't feel like having sex, and you know, it's a no-no for you. So we're going to be tackling why that is, you know, and what you can do to help your situation. So yeah, this is actually a common thing that happens, believe it or not. It's a problem that affects both men and women. There's no specific sex or gender that it affects, but it affects both men and women as well. And it's often linked to say like relationship issues. You guys have an issue in a relationship, it can affect your hormones and your emotions and all that. It can be linked to tiredness as well. It could be linked to stress. Quite a few factors, you know, that are going on in your life can, you know, be affected by your libido and how you perform in bed and how your whole general mood kind of is affected. So we're going to go through some pointers and see how we can address the situation. So yeah, like I said, it affects your, you know, if you have relationship issues going on, your tiredness, your stress. Sometimes it can be medically related as well. So for example, it could be like you have an underlying issue medically that you are unaware of that can, you know, affect your mood, your sex drive as well, make you feel like you don't want to do anything, you don't feel for sex. When you don't feel for sex, there's usually a reason why. Not always the time of the month. There's other things as well. And also it could do with reduced hormones as well, like I said. So there's a few factors that contributes to you losing your sex drive and you having a low libido. Okay, so the common causes of libido, relationship problems, like I said. So basically try and consider whether you are happy in your relationship, you are sad, you have all kinds of emotion going on. You need to kind of sit back and just kind of, you know, analyze certain things to see what is going on and why I'm being affected by so and so. Because sometimes we can go through certain things and we think, oh, it's just one of those things, you know, we kind of brush it off and, you know, try and move on with our lives. But then if it's not addressed, you sit back and you realize, oh, so this is why I was feeling this way. Okay, what's changed while I've been feeling that way? Like, oh, right, okay. Then you can start putting two and two together. It's always a good idea to kind of analyze certain things that go on in your life, just to try and put the pieces together and find out what is actually, you know, going on. So yeah, the other thing is being in a long-term relationship and becoming over familiar with each other. So for example, you guys say you have sex every day, you know, you ramp like rabbits, have sex every day, and it's become the norm. You know, for me, having sex every day can be boring at times unless you spice it up, unless you have different places where you're doing it or different positions that you're doing or something different to spice it up every day. You can't be doing the same thing every single day and expecting it to be spiced up and expecting it to be you know what I mean? Otherwise it'll be boring. So if you're the type that ramps every single day, the other person may find it boring because it's a repetition. It's the same thing that's happening all the time. So maybe you guys become very familiar with each other, expecting the same repetition every day, expecting the same thing to happen. It does become very boring. I don't know about you. It does become, you know, having a routine, doing the same thing. Sometimes you have that, you need that spontaneousness. Is that a word? Did I just make a word up? You need to be spontaneous at times, you know. You know, you get up in the morning, oh, I'm feeling quite frisky today. Like this morning, let me just, you know, surprisingly, you know, take her by surprise, or let me take him by surprise, and just do this, do that. I'm not going to get raw and dirty. Like, I was going to give an example of something, but let's cut it off there. But sometimes it takes a bit of initiative, a bit of a spontaneous kind of move to kind of like, oh, okay, I wasn't expecting that, okay, kind of thing. You get the drift. So basically, sometimes when you become so used to each other doing the same everyday thing, you guys wake up in the morning, you go to work together, or you go to work, you come back, and it's like, okay, now we're coming to cook, shower, and go to sleep. You're having the same routine every day. There's no time for sex. You have to make the time. You have to make the time. Try and do something a little bit out of that box. Try and introduce little things, like, it does help. So if you start becoming very familiar with each other, try new things, and you'll be pretty surprised what that could bring. I think I spoke too long on that, but it's very, very imperative to do that. Also, there could be loss of attraction, loss of sexual attraction. Like I said, familiarity can also cause that. So when you are too familiar with each other, the other person can, or even when you're having sex, the same position every day, the same thing every day, there's no spiced up, nothing in there, and the other person is just lying on the bed like, okay, when is this gonna be over, kind of thing. That's when you start losing sexual attraction. You start, there's certain things that contribute to losing sexual attraction as well. You're not making the effort to kind of wow that person. It takes quite a lot. So I think it boils down to making an effort. Otherwise, if you just sit there expecting the other person to make the move, sure, you're going to be sitting there the whole day. No one is going to be sexually aroused. Nobody's going to be sexually attracted to anything or anyone, and that's when the thought of being sexually attractive moves on to someone else, because you're bored with the person that you're with, and instead of doing something about it, your mind is traveling somewhere else. So that is a dangerous route to take. The other thing is unresolved conflicts. With frequent arguments. So for example, you guys argue all the time, every single day. Who wants to be attracted to that? I mean, some people say that, arguing all the time, you have make-up sex and all that, but come on. How many make-up sex are you going to have? Even at that point, that becomes quite boring at times. But there's little arguments that you can have that, you have make-up sex. It's like, it feels really good. But at the same time, there are certain arguments that make-up sex will not work, so there are some underlying arguments and conflicts that need to be dealt with. Everybody's at peace, and then your hormones and your libido, your drive, and everything will just fall into place. So those things need addressing. Also, we have poor communication. If you don't communicate with your partner very well, there's a lot of communication, there's a lot of silence, there's a lot of whatever going on between you two, and it's not addressed. Nobody wants to touch the other. Nobody wants to have sex. You could be lying next to each other in bed, and nobody wants to do anything. So whatever the issue is with you guys, do try and sit down and sort it out before anything like that happens, okay? Another thing is difficulty trusting each other. If you guys have had a history of something that's happened between you guys, you need to deal with that underlying issue. If it's covered up, the issue is still there, and whatever you're trying to do, it's not going to hide whatever the trust that is broken, that is there. It's obviously going to affect your libido, because after a while it kind of builds up, doesn't it? So that needs to be dealt with step by step, baby steps. No running, no doing hurdles and whatever. Take step by step, communicate, discuss things with each other, make sure you understand what each other wants from the other, if that makes sense, and try and deal with the situations, because honestly it does affect you in so many ways. So just be careful, be honestly very, very careful how you deal with certain things and what steps to take after that. The next one we have is physical sexual pains. Now, this could boil down to quite a lot of things, but we know that there are certain couples who are pretty freaky, certain couples who are pretty rough in bed. There are also certain couples who like it pretty hard and rough, and the other person may be quite sensitive, maybe quite sore, and things like that. So even if it's a medically related issue where the person is pretty sore down there, having sex could, obviously could cause a lot of pain. Stuffing things down there could cause a lot of pain. The person may have been bruised, and you are in the mood for sex and expecting that person to open wide and give you that sex. That's not going to happen. You have to consider the pain that the person is going through, unless you don't know that. I mean, from having sex with someone, in the middle of having sex with someone, the person is making certain groans, the moans, you would know whether she's enjoying it or whether she's actually in pain. So some of these things can put people off and reduce the libido. If it's not dealt with, the person will not be enjoying the sex. They'll just open wide just to please you. Meanwhile, they're not actually enjoying what you're doing. So yeah, these are some of the things that you can take a look at. And also, the doctors can also refer you for counsel, like a couple's counseling and things like that in relation to all these things that, you go through sexually. Some of the sexual problems as well. Is it a physical issue that makes sex difficult and unfulfilling? Is it a physical issue, or is it mentally, or is it medically, or is it, there's a lot of reasons why you may not feel that sex is fulfilling for you when you do it, or you may not feel like your sex drive is at that peak where you want to really do something or really enjoy it. So, for some people, it could be ejaculation issues. For example, with guys may find it difficult to ejaculate when they're having low, libido, like low sex drive, or whatever issue that they're going through at that time, whatever is affecting them mentally, physically and emotionally. It kind of comes through when you're having sex. So for example, you're having sex, you have no idea this guy is going through whatever. Even if you do know that this guy is going through whatever and you guys have sex, it will not be as performed as it should be, because in the middle of doing it, there's ejaculation problem. Either you come early, or you don't come at all, or you just don't feel like coming. There's a lot of reasons, it does happen. And also erectile dysfunction as well. It's another thing where you're having sex and you just cannot get up the penis to get it hard, to get it going. So that's another thing that I put a downer on. Like, I mean, if I was having sex with someone and the penis is down, you're not able to get it up, you try everything, you're not able to get it up, what's the point in carrying on? You should know at that point that there is something mentally blocking, or medically or physically, emotionally, there's something blocking that thing happening, so you don't just brush it under the carpet. You need to address that issue. You also have vaginal dryness, especially for people who, so for example, you've had a baby, or people who are in the menopause, or people who are on medications. And medications can dry that area. So these as well can affect, not just for the woman, for the guy as well. It can affect, if your vagina is dry, it's supposed to be moist, okay, and wet. And if it's dry, the guy cannot thrust as well as he should. And the woman too will not feel what you're supposed to feel when you're having sex. So if that happens, do try and use lubrication. That should do the trick. And also, if there's any problems happening to the woman, or depending on what the problem is, do try and have, get a solution for that. Okay, we do have painful sex as well. That would make somebody not want to have sex. If the sex is just being bang, bang, bang really hard and hitting a really painful spot, you need to calm yourself down, honestly. Listen to your body and make, be aware that it's in pain and it's not worth all that 5 minutes, enjoyment. You need to address the issue. Okay, the other thing is the inability to orgasm. There are some people who find it really hard to orgasm. based on whatever they're going through. Once again, these issues needs to be addressed. So try and find out why, what is wrong with you, what is going on with you at that moment, where you cannot orgasm. You know, you're not in tune or connected to that person, or maybe there's something on your mind. It could be so many reasons why. So please try and deal with that before you engage in sexual penetration. Also, the other one is involuntary tightening of the vagina, and that's the part where you're having sex and all of a sudden your vagina freezes and tightens and pauses and basically doesn't connect with the penis, doesn't really go hand in hand. The guy is thrusting, but you basically just froze. There's, you know, there's issues there that you need to find out why. Basically find out why that is happening. Sex, anxiety, exhaustion, and whatever can lead to low sex drive. Okay, stress, anxiety, exhaustion can lead to low sex drive. Whatever you're going through, it can lead to low sex drive. Depression can also be part of that. If you're on certain medications, it can also be part of that. Getting older and menopause as well can reduce your sex drive. The lower levels of sex hormones as well, which is the estrogen for the women and also the testosterone in men as well, can also reduce as you head into menopause, as you get older as well. Pregnancy, giving birth and breastfeeding, guys, you know, you need to remember these things as well. It does affect you when you're having sex. You're just giving birth to a baby, your concentration is on the baby, your concentration is on your body and how you're feeling, your hormone wise, everything just changes. You're breastfeeding, you just want to concentrate on the baby. You have a new routine going on and your husband is, you know, wants to have sex with you and you're just not feeling it. You know, you need to have these conversations and, you know, tell him to give you time. If you need time, you know, adjust and everything else. These are things that you need to discuss. Communication has to be very imperative between the two of you to understand where and when to dive in, basically. So there's also the change of hormones as well, change of the body image. There are some people who are not happy with the body image after having a baby. That can also put someone off getting naked in front of your husband. They feel pretty uncomfortable with that. Painful sex after a baby. After you had a baby, you're supposed to heal. Give yourself a certain amount of time to heal. And if your husband is forcing you to have sex and you're still in pain, that's just going to make things worse. And also people focusing on the baby, as usual, as I said, they don't even have time to think of anything else. Okay, so there's also underlying health problems that could affect your libido. So if you have anything that you know of that is affecting it, then you know what to do. If you don't know anything that is affecting you, maybe take a look at your history and certain things that you've been going through and try and, you know, find out why you've been feeling a certain way. Some medications reduce libido, like the medication for high blood pressure, medication for seizures, and antidepressants as well can reduce your sex drive. So bear in mind all these things as well when you're lying in bed and not feel like getting your thing up or not feel like engaging in sex, or you know your partner may want sex and you just don't feel like doing anything. Instead of giving the excuse that you have got headache, please be honest with your partner and let them understand why you may not be interested in sex at that point. They may have a suggestion or something to help you out or a different way to go about it. So communication is the key, guys. So yeah, as usual, that's all I have for you guys. If you do have anything you want to drop in the section below, you want to contribute, any videos you want me to tackle, let me know. And as usual, I'll be back next week for another video. So take care, guys, and stay blessed and stay healthy. All right, take care.